Hey guys, welcome back to Steel City Sports. So today I'm going to be reviewing yesterday's play-in game between the Pelicans and the Lakers. I'm not going to review the Kings-Warriors game because that game honestly sucked, and I really don't have much to say about that game other than the Warriors looked pathetic. Klay Thompson embarrassed himself, and I'll have to make a separate video about the Warriors' outlook going forward. So overall, that game sucked. I don't want to talk about it. This game was fascinating. This game had a lot of intrigue. We had a lot of really interesting performances. So I wrote some notes here, so we're going to just go through my notes and thoughts on the game. So right off the bat in the first quarter, two guys jumped out for me. One guy for the Lakers, one guy for the Pelicans. For the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell started off incredible in this game. He had 13 points in the first quarter, shot 3 of 5 from behind the arc, and really set the tone for the Lakers offense. Really got the offense going. Zion had 10 points for the Pelicans. He was 5 of 6 from the field. So right off the bat, I was already thinking these guys are going to have great games because they came off hot. They were looking really good. D'Angelo Russell did kind of cool off because he had 13 in the first, but he finished the game with 21 points. So he did cool off throughout the game. However, he comes up very big for the Lakers a lot later down in this game, really hitting the dagger 3 to ice the game. But we'll obviously talk about that later. But, those two guys, great starts. The Pelicans in the first quarter, they looked like the better team. They had the rebound and the efficiency advantage. And one thing, I know this comes as no real surprise, but the second LeBron James checked out for the Lakers in the first quarter, their offense took a noticeable nosedive in terms of its efficiency, in terms of its looks, and I just find that fascinating that LeBron, still at the ripe age of 39 years old, is still such an incredible offensive engine because you can tell when he's on the floor, they look incredible. When he's off, it's like night and day. So I definitely have to give LeBron a lot of credit. I know that's really not like a big earth-shattering take. LeBron James is a great offensive player, but it was just very noticeable. It stood out really big for me that the Lakers' offense actually looked really shitty in the first quarter when LeBron checked out. So we go to the second quarter. Zion had a monstrous block on LeBron. I just had to point that out because that was a really hype moment at the start of the second quarter. In the second LeBron checked back in, like we just talked about, it felt like the Lakers team completely flipped the switch and they went right back to looking good. So LeBron, again, not really an earth-shattering take. They're way better when LeBron's on the floor. D'Angelo Russell was also looking really good in this quarter as well. It seemed like he couldn't miss. You kind of had that mix-up between him and Alvarado where they both got techs. That was weird. I don't like when the refs really stick their noses in that. Like, I just let them play. Like, I just hate whenever the refs get involved like that. To me, there was nothing really crazy that happened there. You just have guys chirping. It's a heated game, whatever. But neither of them got tossed, which is what I thought initially. I thought the way it was looking, and with Scott Foster's reputation as a ref, I thought one of them was going to get tossed out of this game, so I'm glad that didn't happen. One thing I do have marked here in my notes is CJ McCollum was fucking terrible from 3, and it was noticeable right off the bat, and it felt like he kept trying to shoot his way out of his three-point range slump, and overall for the game, shot 1 of 9 from 3. That is abysmal, And I think if he just either stops doing that or doesn't have this slump, like, the Pelicans would have won this game. For me, that was the biggest reason why the Pelicans lost this game, is because CJ McCollum just did not show up to play. Like I said, 1 of 9 from 3. And 4 of 15 overall from the field. He was terrible. If they would have just gotten a decent CJ McCollum game, I think they would have won this. But he had, he really picked the worst spot to have like the worst game of his season because he was just terrible in this game. The Lakers went on a series of incredible runs, and this is really where they put their foot on the pedal in the second quarter because they had a 12-0 run. And then later on in the same quarter, they had a whole other 13-0 run. So the second quarter, the Lakers really started to put their foot on the throats of the New Orleans Pelicans. So now we go into the third quarter, and I have written down here, the Pelicans, for a majority of this quarter, they looked sloppy, they looked pathetic, they looked like how they forgot how to play basketball. The Pelicans, to start off the third quarter looked terrible, looked like they were completely out of this game. I was even contemplating stopping it because, like I said earlier, they at one point had an 18-point lead. It's like, oh, this was fun for a little, but the Lakers, it looked like they really just broke it open, and it was done. Let's see what else. Like, another thing I do have here is Gabe Vincent. This is kind of a side note, but Gabe Vincent is terrible. And I have written here, Gabe Vincent is ass. I think he made 1 3, and then that somehow in his head made him think he had like a green light to just let it rain from 3. He had 1 3 bounce off like the side / the top of the backboard, which is just comedically bad. Gabe Vincent is ass. Gabe Vincent should not receive any amount of playoff minutes going forward for the Lakers whatsoever. So then for the Pelicans, though, the end of the third quarter is where they really started to turn things around and where the momentum started to get back on their side. Entering into the fourth quarter, I literally just have written here, CJ McCollum is bad at basketball. We just talked about that. He had a terrible game here, so I don't want to harp on that too much because we already talked about that. Brandon Ingram had a weird game. For me, it felt like Brandon Ingram was only taking shots if he was 100% smothered, if he was completely contested. Like, it felt like every single shot Brandon Ingram was taking, he was completely smothered. He made a couple, but I think he missed more. I don't have his stat line written down here. But overall, felt like he could have gotten better looks. Zion, though. Zion was awesome in the fourth quarter, and that's ultimately why it's such a big shame that he ended up getting injured. But I have written here he had a monstrous stop on LeBron. I think he actually had a block on him as well. So he had a couple really big stops on LeBron specifically. One of them led directly to a Jose Alvarado 3. Jose was really good in this game as well. You know, he was probably the second best player for the Pelicans in this game. He's another guy whose stats I didn't write down, but just off the eye test, the intensity he was bringing on defense and the steals and all that, like, I definitely think he was, outside of Zion, one of the most impactful players for the Pelicans in this game. So yeah, you had all that going. It felt like all the momentum was back on the side of New Orleans Pelicans. And then you get the 95-95 tie. It's like the Pelicans came back. They were down 18. Now they're back tied up at 95-95. Then Zion gets hurt. And it was such a shame because Zion was having the best game of his NBA career with 40 points in a postseason game. Looked like this was the real coming out party for Zion because he was looking awesome, especially in the fourth, was making massive, impactful plays on both sides of the court, and he gets hurt. So that's probably something we're going to have to talk about in a separate video because I just really want to focus on this game. But as soon as I saw him leave, I'm like, there's no way the Pelicans are winning this game. You know, just from a morale standpoint for how good that guy was playing and to see him leave the game, that has to just crush the soul of the New Orleans Pelicans. And I think it really did because they never really recovered after Zion left. And another thing I have written here is, why is Brandon Ingram not in the game? The last 3 minutes, and might have been even more, but the 3-minute mark is really where I marked it down. He didn't play at least the final 3 minutes of the game, especially when Zion's not out there. Why the hell is Brandon Ingram not in the game? Now, he might have been injured. I didn't hear anything about Brandon Ingram being injured. If he wasn't injured, what the hell are you doing, Willie Green? Like, what was that all about? If you know why he wasn't on the floor, if he was hurt, please let me know down in the comments. But that was something that really was blowing my mind, that he was not playing. Then I have down here, the Lakers got a series of really bad ticky-tack calls in their favor. And I feel like this happens in a lot of high-stakes games. You know, it can really go either way for what team it benefits. But you just hate to see it. I felt like they had 2 calls specifically. One went for Anthony Davis. One went for LeBron. Felt like really ticky-tack calls at the end of the game. And then ultimately, it was ended off by D'Angelo Russell hitting a dagger 3, putting the Lakers up 4 with like 20-ish seconds left in the game. And that was essentially it. They did a couple fouls to do like the free throw thing, but ultimately the Lakers did close it out and win. So overall, this was a really fun game. I'm really sad that Zion got hurt because I was loving watching what he was doing on the floor. But congrats to the Lakers. I'll be talking more about, obviously all the other series going forward. And stay tuned for my short videos I'll be putting out, basically just after this video for my predictions for the Eastern Conference play-in. So if you made it this far, really appreciate you listening. Please leave a comment on what you thought about this game. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.